I thought my blind date stood me up, and she walked in holding her daughter's hand. I checked my phone for the fifth time. 7:18 p.m. The restaurant was getting louder. The tables around me were filling up, and the chair across from me was still empty. I had been sitting there for almost 40 minutes. My blind date was supposed to arrive at 7. Her name was Emma. I had never met her before. We had only exchanged a few messages after my friend convinced us to give it a chance. Just meet her once, my friend had said. You might be surprised. But now, staring at that empty chair, I felt like an idiot. Maybe she had changed her mind. Maybe she had seen my picture and decided I wasn't what she wanted. Or maybe she simply wasn't coming. I was about to stand up and leave when the restaurant door opened, and there she was, Emma. But she wasn't alone. She walked inside holding the hand of a little girl. The girl looked about 6 years old, and the moment Emma saw me, she stopped. For a second, our eyes met. Then she looked down at her daughter. The little girl looked back at me, and Emma whispered something to her. The girl smiled. Then they started walking toward my table. I stood up. Emma? She nodded nervously. I'm sorry, she said. I smiled politely. You're late. I know. She took a breath. But I have a good reason. I looked at the little girl. She was wearing a pink sweater, carrying a small stuffed rabbit, and watching me with the kind of innocent curiosity only children have. Emma gently squeezed her hand. This is Lily. The little girl raised her hand. Hi, Lily. She looked at the empty chair. Is that my mom's seat? I smiled. Yes. She looked at me seriously. Are you the man she was talking about? Emma's face turned bright red. Lily. What? The little girl asked innocently. You weren't supposed to say that. But you said he looked nice. I laughed, and for the first time that evening, the awkwardness disappeared. Come on, I said. You both can sit. Emma hesitated. I know this isn't what you expected. No, I admitted, but it's okay. She sat down. Lily sat beside her. And somehow my blind date had turned into something completely different. A few minutes later, the waiter came over. I looked at Lily. What would you like? She looked at her mom. Can I get chocolate milk? Emma smiled. Water is fine. I shook my head. Chocolate milk sounds better. Lily grinned. Thank you. Emma looked at me. You don't have to do that. I know. She stared at me for a moment. Then she smiled. I really am sorry. What happened? She looked down at her hands. I almost didn't come. I didn't know what to say. She continued. My babysitter canceled 20 minutes before I was supposed to leave. She looked at Lily, and I couldn't leave her alone. I understand. She paused. But I didn't want you to think I was making excuses. So you brought her? Emma nodded. I figured you'd either understand, she gave a nervous smile, or you'd walk away. I looked at Lily, who was busy opening her straw. I'm not walking away. Emma looked surprised. Really? Really? And something changed in her expression. She looked relieved. We started talking. Not about careers. Not about money. Not about the usual questions people ask on first dates. Instead, we talked about simple things. Favorite movies, favorite food, places we'd like to visit. Lily kept interrupting us. Mom doesn't like scary movies. She cried during that one movie, Lily announced. Emma sighed. I did not cry. You did. I laughed. What movie? Emma pointed at Lily. Don't encourage her. For the first time in a long time, I felt completely comfortable. There was no pressure, no pretending, no trying to impress someone. Just 3 people sitting at a restaurant, laughing together. After dinner, Lily asked if she could have dessert. Emma shook her head. No dessert tonight. I looked at the waiter. 3 slices of cheesecake. Emma stared at me. 3? I changed my mind. I pointed at Lily. 2 slices. Lily smiled. And 1 for Mom. Emma laughed. You two are already teaming up against me. Looks like it, I said. After dessert, we stepped outside. The evening air was cool. Emma held Lily's hand as they walked toward the parking lot. Then she stopped. I need to tell you something. I waited. I didn't come here expecting anything. I know. No, I mean, she looked at me. I've been avoiding dating for years. Why? She looked down. Because after Lily's father left, I stopped believing people stayed. I didn't interrupt. She continued. He promised he'd be there. He promised he'd help. He promised Lily would always have a father. Her voice became quieter. Then one day, he just disappeared. I could see the pain in her eyes. I'm sorry. She nodded. So when my friend suggested this date, I almost laughed. Why? Because I thought, why would anyone want to date a woman who comes with a child and 1,000 responsibilities? I looked at Lily. She was sitting on a nearby bench, playing with her stuffed rabbit. Then I looked back at Emma. You don't come with a child. She frowned slightly. What? You're not a package deal. I smiled. You're a person. She didn't say anything. And Lily isn't baggage. Emma's eyes filled with tears. She isn't? No. I looked at Lily. She looks like the best part of your life. Emma wiped her cheek quickly. I haven't heard anyone say that in a long time. We stood there quietly. Then Lily suddenly ran toward us. Mom! Emma bent down. What happened? We both laughed. We went back inside. The restaurant was almost empty. Lily found her rabbit under the table. Then she looked at me. Are you coming with us? I smiled. I don't know. She looked confused. Why not? I glanced at Emma. Emma smiled. Because this is the first date. Lily thought for a second. Then she said, well, I think he should come again. Emma covered her face. Lily. What? I laughed. I think she's right. Emma looked at me. You do? I do. She smiled. Then maybe, she hesitated. Maybe we could do this again. I nodded. I'd like that. 6 months later I was standing in the same restaurant. But this time, I wasn't sitting alone. Emma was sitting across from me, and Lily was between us, wearing a little yellow dress. We were celebrating something. Not an anniversary. Not a birthday. Something much bigger. Emma had just accepted a new job she'd been afraid to apply for. She had spent years believing she had to choose between being a good mother and building a life for herself. That night, she realized she didn't have to choose. After dinner, Lily asked me something. Can I call you something? I smiled. Sure. She leaned closer. Can I call you family? I froze. Emma looked at me, her eyes filled with tears. I reached across the table and held her hand. Then I looked at Lily. You don't have to ask. She smiled. Okay. She hugged me. And in that moment I realized something. That night I thought my blind date had stood me up. I thought I had been rejected before the date even began. But she hadn't stood me up. She had simply arrived differently than I expected. She walked through that restaurant door, holding her daughter's hand. And without knowing it, she brought something into my life that I never knew I was missing. A family. A little girl who taught